You started recording?
Yes, go.
Okay, good evening, good morning, good day, depending on where you are in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the online SWIG presentation, the Skyway Invest Group opportunity. It's designed to give you an insight into the great opportunity that exists right now with this amazing company. Now, we are definitely living in a changing world. If you are in a job, there is a very good chance that within the next 10 or 15 years, it will become automated and your position will become obsolete, leaving you basically out in the cold. So there really is a major transfer in wealth right now. Some people will refer to this in the future as the greatest wealth transfer in the history of mankind. People are already starting to refer to it that. So it's time for us to start educating ourselves and get on board with opportunities like this. So before we go too much further, I just want to go through this disclaimer right here. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about multi-level crowd investing. That's a new term we are coining the marketplace. We're definitely pioneers in that space. So today you'll find out a little bit more about what that means and what it looks like for you. We'll talk a little bit about education information products, also known as education investment packages or EIPs. We'll talk a little bit about PIPEs, pre-IPO private equity shares. And of course, if you're not sure what IPO stands for, it's simply an initial public offering. It's the first time a company gets listed on a public stock exchange for people to be able to purchase shares in that company. So realistically, today we're looking at a pre-IPO opportunity. Please note, we are not selling, nor are we licensed to sell shares. All countries have their own rules on the sale of financial products, and we respect the laws of the land. Generally speaking, most countries allow the sale of financial information products without a special license. We are not selling shares. We are offering an opportunity to participate in a wealth creation education, which provides the fundamental principles on which wealth is created and retained. For doing so, you receive PIPEs as a bonus. Now, that are PIPEs, pre-IPO equity shares, in the Skyway technology. We do not offer financial advice, and you shouldn't either unless you're licensed to do so in your area of residence. Only general information is given and should be noted. Please do your own due diligence or seek confirmation from a licensed accountant or financial advisor in your area for compliance in your state or country. Any figures that are mentioned tonight are done so for illustrative purposes and offer no guarantee. So for those of you who don't know me, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Hawkes. I'm a father first. I have 3 beautiful children, one incredibly headstrong 17-year-old who's about to move out on her own, and 2 younger boys who basically come with us and do whatever we're doing in the world. I'm married to my best friend, and I have been for just a little over 10 years. She's definitely my biggest guide that I have in life, and I wouldn't be without her. I'm a leader manager within the organization, within the Skyway organization, which is part of the opportunity I'm going to share with you today. I'm one of 8 English-speaking master profi coaches, certified master profi coaches worldwide. I'm a private investor, and I have been since about the age of 20. It's when I bought my first house and started delving into the investment field. And I bought my first house as an investment. I didn't live in it. I was in the military at the time, did 11 years in the Royal New Zealand Air Force with 5 tours of duty overseas. I've been marketing online for a little over 10 years now and haven't really had a job in that time. Have made enough money throughout that to be able to continue the existence we have and not have to get a job, so to speak. In 2011, I wrote my first book called Rivers of Gold, How to Create Multiple Income Streams. And in 2015, I finally plucked up the courage to publish that. And there's actually somebody here on the call today that knows all about that when you're writing your own book and what that process is. So who are we? Well, before we get started, I really want to give you an outside or an insight into what we are all about. So we're going to have a look at the Skyway Group overview. First of all, our overreaching company, if you like, is the Transnet Group. Now that holds all the IP for the technology, and it is also a partner in the Skyway Invest Group, which is what we are here representing today. We've got the Skyway technology, which was originally marketed as Unitsky string technology. We'll find out a little bit more about that as we go through. Now in the marketplace as Skyway technology. Now, Dr. Unitsky is a very altruistic, or has a very altruistic view on the world, and he would like to see all people prospering. So the way in which he did that was by saying, hey, I'm going to crowdfund for this great technology right here, right now. Now, during the process of that, he met a gentleman by the name of Andre Hirato, who had a company called the Academy of Private Investor. Now, the beauty of this is that it is an investment or an educational investment program that teaches you how to discern what is a good investment, what is a bad investment, what's high risk, what's low risk, what's no risk, and how to get the best return out of your money through a balanced portfolio. Now, while teaching this education, one of Andre's students came to him and said, "Hey, Andre, I've got this really great opportunity that I can get into in a pre-IPO opportunity. They are crowdfunding for this right now. Can you do an assessment on it for me?" And of course, Andre went through it, and he has 6 or 7 criteria that he goes through with each company that he wants to make his decision as to whether he invests in it. And this Skyway technology got 5 out of 5 in every assessment. So of course, it was a very, very good investment opportunity, he believed. So from that, Skyway Invest Group was created, where Dr. Yanitsky and Andre Havrato came together because Dr. Yanitsky wanted to crowdfund his technology, and Andre Havrato had the education that he could partner with that to make it a viable option. So this is Andre Havrato right here. He's a multidisciplinary investor. He's been investing for over 20 years and has distilled all of that knowledge into the Academy of Private Investor, which is available to all of us who participate within the Skyway Invest Group opportunity. He's the author of the Academy of Private Investor, as I said. He's also the co-author of a game called The Genius of Finance, which we'll have a look at a little bit later on. He's the founder of Skyway Invest Group, along with Anatoly Yanitsky, which is a registered trademark of Rail Skyway Systems and is an education portal for our fund. He is definitely the master of dream realization. He has a beautiful mansion in Crimea that overlooks the Black Sea. And if you've seen any of the footage or scenery from there, it is absolutely stunning. It's definitely a place that I'd like to visit before I pop my clogs. This is Dr. Anatoly Yanitsky. He is the genius behind the technology Skyway Invest Group is currently crowdfunding for. And I say that currently because that will make a little bit more sense as we go through. So Dr. Yanitsky grew up in Chernobyl. He got a grant in 2001 to prove the concept of the Skyway string technology. He got $1 million there, and in 2001, he definitely proved the validity of the concept. Of course, growing up in Chernobyl, everybody knows what happened in the mid-'80s in Chernobyl. He wants to make sure that nothing like that happens in the future, and he believes if we do nothing compared to what we're doing right now, we have about 3 to 4 generations max before the damage we've done is irreparable. So he wants to jump on board, and that's one of the reasons why he wants us all to be co-owners, so we all get behind that. So we create a fundamentally new transport system which is eco-friendly, safe, comfortable, and significantly cheaper compared to all existing solutions. Having passed a wide range of international expert evaluations, the innovative Skyway string system has proved its validity. And of course, it definitely has done that. Dr. Yanitsky, since receiving that grant in 2001, has received 3 Golden Chariot Awards, which are for innovations in transport. So the rest of the world is starting to wake up and see what it is that Dr. Yanitsky has his hands on. And believe me, some of the news I've heard in the last 24 hours is incredibly exciting for moving forward. So on about the 29th of April 2014, these 2 gentlemen got together and they did sign an agreement for Skyway Invest Group to have first access to any project, any future project that Dr. Yanitsky creates in the next 20 years. So we've got a good future ahead of us creating multiple different income streams through a varied portfolio here with this opportunity. So some of the problems that Skyway technology can solve, these are them right here. We can see the oil spill there in the Gulf of Mexico back in 2009, so almost 10 years ago now. Obviously, it made a massive impact environmentally. If we can go away from our fossil fuels, then we can get that out of the way. Obviously, congestion is something that we can work towards assisting or alleviating. Pollution there is another thing because we have a very, very clean transport technology that we're looking at right now. And of course, overcrowding. Now, keep in mind that Dr. Yanitsky's plans also include linear cities. Now, linear cities are cities that will exist up to 500 kilometers away and maybe beyond that, from major metropolis centers. And we're able to do that because of the high-speed solution, which we'll talk a little bit about. One of the other things is that this can fix or alleviate, assist with, if you like, even just the technology side of it, with people becoming co-owners of it, they all start to receive a dividend payment back from that once launched and laid 200,000 kilometers of track. So that means there's a lot of ideas out there that, you know, they don't necessarily see the light of day because people don't necessarily have the resources in which to make those happen. And when I say resources, I'm actually talking about money. So with the money coming in and the collective group that we've created through Skyway Invest Group, it means that we are then able to do more things and have a bigger impact, a positive impact on the environment and the world around us. So the technology summary, in 2014, a evaluation was done. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. And it involved these three. No, it didn't. It involved three pieces of transport: the unibike, the unibus, and the cargo. The unibike's not on here, but let me tell you about what is. The high speed there, up to 500 kilometers an hour. They are set to peg out and break ground in the UAE. They're going to peg out in the UAE in September and break ground no later than November on this high-speed solution, which will then be certified. Hey, we got some feedback coming there. You saw that, Andrew? Cool. Will be certified and then rolled out in many other places throughout Europe and the world. We've got the urban Skyway there, which is the uni bus. It has been certified. So this can actually be rolled out right now in many countries. And I can actually tell you that Dr. Yanitsky is telling people to wait at the moment because of what's going on in the UAE. So there's plenty of orders actually now flooding in for these solutions. The cargo solution there, perfect for mining companies who have a remote location because it's very cheap to implement, to put in, much cheaper than a haul road or an existing rail infrastructure that is out there right now. And when I say cheaper, I mean like 10% of the cost. So much, much cheaper to implement. Of course, this is also good for farmers. The Midwest and the United States would definitely benefit from this. All the corn, the wheat, anything like that could be shipped out to market in these hoppers, in these cargo that are hopper fed. Very, very intelligent way to transport cargo. So just a little bit of a comparison here. For speed, Skyway will travel up to and beyond actually 500 kilometers an hour, which is around 300 miles per hour. It has a very, very high safety standard. Cost per kilometer to implement, only $3 to $8 million. Now the 3 is for the cargo, so incredibly cheap. Well, around the 3 end is for the cargo, so much cheaper to implement. Obviously, as we start to get up in that, about to 8 million, then we're talking about passenger infrastructure and stations for changing and things like that. It is eco-friendly and it is incredibly adaptable, meaning it can be built through any terrain. It can be built through the sea. It can be built over mountains, through the desert, through the jungle, whatever you like, it can be implemented with a very, very low environmental impact or footprint. Okay, so in the next one over there, we've got the magnetic levitation train. This can travel up to 600 kilometers an hour. It has a high safety standard. It is $106 million per kilometer to build. It is eco-friendly, and we'll come back to that in a second. However, it must be built on flat ground. Now, I said we come back to the eco-friendly because for it to travel at 600 kilometers an hour, it's not that eco-friendly because they need to dial in a lot of energy to make it run that fast. So to keep it energy efficient, they actually only run it at about 350 maximum kilometers an hour. So almost half of what that is. The next one there, the Hyperloop, you've probably heard a lot about that in Elon Musk. What you may not have heard is that the original research for the Hyperloop, Dr. Yanitsky did himself. Elon Musk picked that research up. Now, the reason Dr. Yanitsky dropped it is because it wasn't feasible at the time. And when you look at the two, Skyway and the Hyperloop, Skyway is much further ahead in its development stages. However, 1,300 kilometers an hour, a moderate safety standard, 100 million per kilometer to build. It is eco-friendly, but it must be built on flat ground and have perfectly straight tubes for it to work. The monorail is in there for a comparison because it is an elevated platform, and it is about $36 million a kilometer to build. However, it is only 80 kilometers an hour. It does have a high safety standard, and I always make the joke, unless you're in Broadbeach, because things started falling off the one that was there, but it must be built on flat ground, so it still has its limitations. So this piece of land here, Eco Techno Park in the province of Marina Gorka in Belarus, it's about an hour out of Minsk, the capital city there, was gifted by the Belarusian government to Dr. Yanitsky. It was originally a Soviet bombing range, and Dr. Yanitsky looked at it and said, I can make something pretty cool out of here, which is obviously Ecotech Park. In that picture that you can see, there are 3 different types of rail. There are a rigid, there are a semi-rigid, and there is a suspended rail system. While I was recently up there for EcoFest, we've noticed that there's now a 4th string in there as well, and it essentially is a cable string for cable cars and things like that. They've built that incredibly quickly. Now, this land was gifted not only because they didn't know what to do with it, but because they believed if they supported Dr. Yanitsky, then there's a chance that they could get a discount on implementing the transport themselves in the future. Now, this houses the testing and certification facility and the administrative buildings. They now also have a further production plant in the city of Minsk, in the industrial area, obviously, that is capable of producing up to 1,500 unibuses a year right now. Now, our stages of development, we have 15 developmental stages, and we are currently sitting in stage 12. What does that mean? Each stage that we go through, we need to raise X amount of funds. Now, I say X amount because it has varied. It's been a sliding scale from stage 1 right up to stage 15. The last 3 stages, we need to raise 25 million in each stage. And we're very, very close to moving stages again from stage 12 to stage 13 and possibly beyond that. So in 1978, we've already mentioned that Dr. Nitze came up with the idea of this, the concept, started working on it as a university student. And then in 2014, after they were gifted the land, he then started on the technical documentation and things that need to be implemented. 2015, they finally broke ground up there. And now to see it 3 years later is an absolute feat of engineering, if you like. It's very pristine up there. It's beautiful. They've got trees and everything that they've grown. They're working on an organic soil matter that's going to be able to roll out worldwide as well. That will certainly assist with our growing. But in 2016, they started the demonstration and certification. 2017, they received certification on the Unibike and, of course, the Unibus. Now, 2018 and beyond, they're starting to look at implementation. And I can tell you that simultaneously starting with the United Arab Emirates project, there are up to another five projects starting simultaneously that will equal thousands of kilometers implemented worldwide, which is very exciting. Beyond 2018, of course, the company will look at going to IPO. And this is one of the things that definitely makes it exciting for potential co-owners like yourselves. In 2014, there was a valuation done. It was done on IP rights, patents, and the value was just over $400 billion. Let me break that down for you. The valuation was done based on 3 types of transport, okay? That is the Unibike, the Unibus, and the cargo solution. It was also based upon the fact that they would have 100,000 kilometers of track contracted. That doesn't mean it's laid. That means the contract signed, agreed. That's what the valuation is based on. Now, when that happens, our company will be valued at that and it will go to IPO. That's what they believe. Now, what you need to know is that 4 years later, not only based on those original 3 types of transport, there's a further 3. There's the high speed. There's the drone that we now have. There is the car, the electric car for wheelchair-bound people. And there is also another container solution or cargo solution that wasn't included in that original valuation. There are more than 300 MOUs signed worldwide, and MOU simply stands for a Memorandum of Understanding, and there's over 12 countries already involved in that process that have put their hands up and said, we want to implement the technology in this country. Now, there's more than actually $100 million raised so far. It says 60, but there's actually more than 100 million. For a fully transferable technology. So what does that mean, fully transferable? It simply means it's a turnkey solution that can be rolled out in any country. So all of the components and everything can be manufactured in the specific country it's being rolled out in, which means more jobs for that area, means more people, more hands-on, and more money to the economy, which is always exciting. So these are just some of the countries that are involved. We've got Indonesia there, top left. The interesting thing with Indonesia, and I know Andrew on here is an engineer, all the engineering students are going to get first-hand knowledge. Engineering students in the university are going to get first-hand knowledge because they're actually rolling the technology out through the university. So they're having new engineers coming through with an understanding of this futuristic technology, which is incredibly exciting. Of course, we've got India there. We've got Belarus, Australia, already mentioned, Russia, the Ukraine, Ireland. Now, some of the countries that aren't mentioned, the Philippines, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, the United Arab Emirates. These are just some of the countries that are already involved with this. And believe me, the UAE is heavily involved in it. And we know what happens in Dubai. It's like a future glimpse of what's happening in the rest of the world, if you like. So incredibly exciting for what's going on there. Now, this is the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, the Dalai Lama with Dr. Nitze. The reason this photo is so significant is because this transport solution, this innovative ecological transport solution, has been given the green light and blessing from the Dalai Lama. Okay, and you see Dr. Yanitsky there actually signing an agreement, and that was for a rail from New Delhi to Dharamsala, the home of the Dalai Lama. There are over 3 million passengers per year that will use that specific piece of rail. That's incredibly exciting for me as a co-owner, let me tell you. Earlier this year, Skyway technology did show at the Rail Expo in Indonesia. Of course, they also showed at the Future Cities Expo in Dubai, where their stand was right next to the government stand. So that was like pride of place, if you like. The government always puts the people they want to work with right next to them. So that's incredibly exciting. Now, the slide I don't have in here is also one for Singapore. There was also showed at Singapore this year, and there's a lot of people from around the that Asian area, if you like, Malaysia, Philippines, that were interested in the technology. So very exciting for us moving forward. Certificates are obtained. So what that is that certification that I was talking about from November of last year. So we're talking specifically these ones here. There's 2 certificates. One is for the Unibike, one is for the Unibus, and that means that it can be rolled out anywhere in the Russian Federation right now for transport. It's been certified there. Now you might go, okay, well, what about our country? Yes, of course, there's still going to be checks and balances needed to be done in your own country. However, this is the major hurdle that has already been overcome. So it's pretty much just a straightforward check. Of course, 2017, Skyway Technology received Technology of the Year award for Belarus there. And also in 2017, they received their ISO certification, their ISO 9001, which essentially means this is a turnkey product that they can now roll out anywhere in the world. Very exciting. That's that fully transferable part that I've already spoken about. So great. That's the technology. That's what it does. That's the problems we can solve with it. What's in it for you? Okay, well, that's a really good question. Why are you here today? Well, you can become a co-owner of that technology through our system, Skyway Invest Group, which also offers a wealth creation education, because getting all the money that you're potentially going to get from Skyway could come as a windfall for people. And look, we know what happens with lottery winners. Most of them are broke within 3 years. In fact, they're usually worse off than what they were to start with. So we're offering an education to show people how to continue to grow that money outside of what they get from here. Now, you may have missed Apple in 76. You may have missed Bitcoin in 2009. However, you definitely have a very real opportunity right now to become a co-owner of the technology that I've just spoken about. And when I say a co-owner, that means anything that rolls out in the world for that particular technology, you would own it. And that's incredibly exciting. With our financial education, obviously with our education system, the way it currently is, it educates people and equips them perfectly to become employees, which is the E in the cash flow quadrant there, made famous by Robert Kiyosaki, of course. Now, if we become really, really good mechanics or technicians in our business as an employee, then some of us transfer and become self-employed people and start to get people on board there. Now, when I say start to get people on board, we might have 2 or 3 people working for us. We're still trading time for money, however. And it's not until we get to the right side of the quadrant where we start to actually generate some real wealth. So if we look at the B, that stands for big business. Any organization that is over 500 people plus is considered big business. Now, it doesn't have to be a traditional bricks and mortar business. It can be any organization over 500 people. So if you're in networking, then if you've got a network organization that's bigger than 500, you're starting to fit into that B side of the quadrant. Of course, the I stands for investor, and that will be how you get money while you sleep. That's ultimately our ultimate goal with our education, to assist people to become a educated professional investor. Now, Warren Buffett has this to say about money, right? He says, if you cannot work out how to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Now, I'm going to go out there and say that all the people on this call have no interest in working till they die. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. So you have a very real opportunity with this right now. Now, as I said, you can become a co-owner of this. However, one of the tools that we use is the Genius of Finance. This is a wealth simulator. And if you've ever played cash flow before, it's like that, but it's like that on steroids. So you take very real world opportunities or scenarios and put them into your game right here. What it does, even if you're a seasoned investor, it's really good because you can now start to play out different strategies and test them to see if they're going to work for you. If you're not a seasoned investor, great. then it's going to give you the information and confidence to be able to go out in the real world and actually make those decisions, those moves that you have made in the game. And the interesting thing about the game is all the coaches will tell you everybody plays the game like they play life. So it's a very interesting parallel, and one where we can start to educate ourselves and move forward. So multi-level crowd investing, we've already mentioned that a little bit. It is a new term in the marketplace, so to speak. What does it mean? Well, in 2012, President Obama passed the Jobs Act. And of course, the rest of the world kind of followed. What that meant was that everyday people, mums, dads, family people, blue-collar workers, had the opportunity to invest in startup companies and receive equity in those companies. Whereas prior to that, you had to be a sophisticated investor. You had to earn $200,000 plus a year or have over $1 million invested to be able to participate in a pre-IPO opportunity, to be able to crowdfund or to be able to invest in a company before it hit the stock market. So if we look at the history of crowdfunding, obviously that was referred to as equity crowdfunding. If we look at the traditional history of crowdfunding, a relatively new scene, let's be honest, 10, 15 years old max. We look at Kickstarter is probably the biggest company. Then, of course, we've got Fundable and Indiegogo. Now, Kickstarter, their best event, if you like, or best product was the Pebble smartwatch or the Pebble smartwatch. It raised $10.2 million. That's just through crowdfunding. So what that meant was, hey, you invest in our watch and we'll give you a watch. It's essentially what it meant. Now, just to put it into context for you, Skyway Invest Group and a couple of other crowd investing companies that have crowdfunded for the Skyway technology have raised over 100 million. So there's a big difference there between 10.2 and 100 million. So the space works, the model works, and we're continuing to grow and evolve it. But I want you to just have a look at the Oculus Rift there for a second. It raised $2.4 million. Hey, not to be sneezed at, that's great. Anybody that invested in the Oculus Rift or crowdfunded for the Oculus Rift were lucky if they got an Ocular, so they could play online games or virtual reality or whatever they wanted to do with the Oculus Rift. Later on, Oculus Rift sold to Facebook for $2 billion. Not one of the people that crowdfunded for that, the people that got the masks, they did not receive any of the equity for that. Whereas with multi-level crowd investing, you will. If the company ever sells or you're going to receive dividends, you're going to receive a return from that. You actually get ownership within the company, and that's incredibly important to understand. So you can get involved through a one-off payment, i.e. you can say, you know what, I've got $1,000 I want to throw it. I've got $10,000 I want to throw it. It's up to you. You can get involved anywhere from as little as $10 US. I'd suggest putting a little bit more than that, but that's just me. So the example you can see right here, for $1,000 US, you would receive 45,000 pre-IPO private equity shares. Now think back to the stages of development slide. I said there will be a valuation, or there is a valuation of over $400 billion. That means every one of the share parcels available has a par value of $1. Right here, for $1,000, you're going to get 45,000 pre-IPO equity shares. Of course, the more you put in, the more of those that you get through your education system. Now, hey, maybe you wanted to get a bigger pack. Maybe that $10,000 pack was attractive to you, but you couldn't pay it out in once. You had to do $1,000 a month. That's okay. You can do that because we have installments that we pay out over 10 months. 10 months is the maximum that you can do it over. So once you've done 10 months, you've got the choice to not pay anymore, or you can start another package. But after that 10 months, you're not obligated to do any more than that. Okay, so you can see there, for example, for $1,000 a month for 10 months, $10,000, you would receive 600,000 pre-IPO private equity shares. Again, that's kind of important to note as well. So the potential of the Skyway technology, it certainly can't be understated. Or can't be overstated. Right now, the science and tech, obviously, there's a lot of movement in that space. We are also in the venture in the startup market. That's 2014 to 2018. We're definitely coming to the end of that phase because we're almost finished, fully funded the developmental stages of Skyway. So the next one then is the manufacturer market. I've already spoken about moving into, right, the fully transferable technology. Hey, Ranganui, how are you? I just see you there. Into the fully transferable technology that any country can roll out. So that's part of the market we're now stepping into, and also the real estate market. I mentioned earlier in the presentation about the linear cities and being able to live up to 500 kilometers away from the main metropolis centers. Now, the beauty of land that far away from a metropolis center is that it's relatively cheap to purchase. That means building costs come down because the land costs are down. It means we can start to do affordable housing, but in those communities, they also need infrastructure like schools, like doctors, like supermarkets, and we get to do all of that. And we get to be co-owners of all of that. So the potential we start to see here is enormous. And of course, that we start to roll out 2018 to 2020. So we're starting to come into that phase now. You'll see more manufacture pop up. You'll see more land that we purchase in different places to run these projects out. Obviously, the stock market's a big one. We've already spoken about the IPO. The more of this first part that happens, the better it is for us because that puts the value of the stocks up when we can go to sell them. 2020 to 2025 is a good time frame to sort of think about when we may or head to IPO in that respect. And of course, the banking sector, if you know anything about the banking industry, you know it's inherently flawed. You know it's controlled by one central location who can manipulate the prices, and that's devastating. So that's why we've seen the meteoric rise of the likes of cryptocurrencies, because it is a decentralized system that can't be manipulated, and that is exciting. Now, when I talk about the banking sector, it's wide open for an organization like ours to come in and totally reform it. And I don't say that lightly. I say that because we're coming together with a common cause, and when we come together collectively, that is when we're strong. That's why all the media do the divide and conquer strategies, because while we're fighting each other, we can't fight the powers that be that are now starting to oppress us more and more. So that's exciting too, and they'll be looking at 2018 to 2025. We're starting to shape that now. Man, I'm going to say that again. We're starting to shape that now. You can definitely become a part of that movement today. So that, guys, if you're not interested in anything else, then you can get on board and just become a part of that and then potentially get payment for the rest of your life. But however, if you like what you see and you feel like I do, that, hey, it's my duty to share this with people, because the more people that know about this, the faster it becomes to a realization, then you want to listen on for this next bit as well. There are some business opportunities available for you. Obviously, the network marketing scene is one of the fastest growing sections or sectors of the industry, if you like, of business. And it's for a very good reason, because it offers a balanced lifestyle. It means that people can actually now get their time back. Rather than building someone else's dream, they can build their own. So through Skyway Invest Group, we show people how they can create that balanced lifestyle to have everything that they desire and assist others to do the same. So there are 6 income streams available through this opportunity. And what our education teaches is the difference between an asset and a liability. Obviously, an asset is something that's going to continue to bring you money. A liability is something that continues to cost you money. Now, I consider this one right here, a network, absolutely an asset, because you build it once and it will continue to pay you. Every time we get a new project that we start to crowdfund for or crowd invest for, because remember, the technology is simply the first project that we're starting with. There will be more that we can become co-owners of. So our network will continue to pay us time after time. That will become an incredibly valuable asset. So tomorrow, obviously, you could become a country rep. Now, something incredibly exciting that I heard last night, country rep's probably not necessarily the right terminology, so probably more a company representative. We are looking for coaches right now, and you will get paid as speakers and coaches for this company. What's coming in the future, in the very near future, and rolling it out right now, is that people that are motivated to help this company succeed will get incredibly well rewarded for doing so. So watch this space for coaches and speakers. Multi-level crowd investing department. This one is incredibly exciting. These are for people that give a massive contribution to the company. Now, they're not necessarily expecting payment for that. They're just going out and doing what needs to be done to get the word out there. These are motivated people. They have structures of 10,000 plus. However, when they become part of that multi-level crowd investing department, they receive a share of global revenue, and that is enormous. Now, keep in mind, for all of these things, you can receive the training through the company to ensure that you get the best of everything so that you want to do it. Of course, a percentage from big contracts. If you're in an area that does help roll out contracts, you're going to get paid money for doing so. And just imagine it's a $200 million contract and you're receiving 4% of that. You know, if you'd spent 3 or 4 years working on that, that's still a pretty decent payday when you think about it. In the future, obviously, we've already talked about the IPO and the fact that the company will go to IPO and what it will go at. Dr. Yanitsky will not list the company until he can guarantee a par value of $1 per share. That's incredibly exciting and kind of important to note. In the future, dividends. Oh, this is the one that got me hooked. Dividends for life and for future generations, meaning that you can pass this on to your children, to their great-grandchildren. Hey, and just as an aside, you can also get your children as minors involved with this opportunity right now. They can have their own portfolio. And I've certainly done that for my kids, and I know plenty of people that have done it for theirs as well. So our marketing plan, for anyone you personally introduce, you get 8% of whatever they put in. Now, I'll come back to that. The second level, you get 7% of whatever they put in. And of course, you can see it there. As a partner on the third level, you get 3%. As an agent, it's 5% right through to president. The fourth level, as a partner, there's no more payment there. You need to be an agent or above to receive on your fourth level. You can see the agent gets 4%, again, right through to president. Once we get to our fifth level, then only as a consultant and above will you receive payment. Again, 3% on that level. On the sixth level and below, anything from 1.5% through to 8%. That 8% is shared across the infinity there. So there's a few calculations you can do on that. Now, what I want to point out is that although it's only 8% that you get of whatever they put in, you're also getting co-ownership in something. So something that comes in the future, think of this as like a part payment down and the rest of your payment's going to come. Anything you get in equity in the company is going to pay you 10 times more than you could ever earn in your commission structure. However, this asset that you've created will become incredibly valuable. So how can you start? It's very, very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Register today, complete the verification process. Now, anybody who has invited you to go through this call will be able to walk you through this, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to walk you through this. There are also videos to help you walk through it step by step that will show you exactly what you need to do. Learn about the product and the company. Of course, it's important if you want to sound intelligent about what you're talking about to do as much research on it as you can. This is something that will come over time as well. Right now, you don't have to know everything about it because you can plug them in to your upline who does know. And I'm sure your upline is incredibly happy to talk to people on your behalf. Tap into the Facebook group that's available. Skyway Invest Group Global is probably the most relevant one. It has more up-to-date information than any other group that's out there, and there are readily available tools in the file section that help you assist. It's all the videos are there, all the technical information, all the business plans there, the stages of development. You can share those with anybody else, and of course, you can add people to that group. Number 4, invite others. We do run these webinars regularly. I do them on a Tuesday night here as well, 7 p.m. Queensland time, which is relatively early in the States. I get that. It's the wee hours of the morning, hence the reason we're doing this time now. However, they are run regularly, so invite people to them. There are also recordings available on the Global Transnet UK channel on YouTube and also on my channel, also on Andrew 12 Tree's channel. There are places available for you to get recorded presentations. So just to summarize everything we've been through, you can become educated and a professional investor through Skyway Invest Group. Regardless of whether you build a business or not, you can educate yourself and continue to grow your portfolio. You could grow a business and have unlimited earning potential if you chose to go down that route, and many, many people do. In fact, there's a lot of people, to be honest, that start with absolutely no intention of sharing this as a business. They're just going to get in it and sit back passively. I know I was one of those people. However, the more they learn about it, the more they realize I can't not share this with someone, so they go out and do it. You can create multiple passive income streams, and I mean multiple passive income streams. You can do it through the crowdfunding, obviously, through the different portfolios that will additions to your portfolio that we'll get through the different opportunities we have. You can also do it through the asset of your network. You can create a Skyway portfolio with billions. Now, I don't say that lightly. I really don't. That's a lot of money. But when you think about it in context and the potential just the technology has, the early adopters will potentially see that just from that technology. However, there's going to be multiple different things coming into your portfolio that will assist with that portfolio with billions. So if you ever had the hankering to become a billionaire, then this is a very real opportunity for you to do exactly that. You can help others and create a legacy. And I say this every time. They say that you die twice. The first time when your mortal soul leaves your body, and the second time is the last time somebody speaks your name. Now, through this, you have the very real opportunity to leave a legacy, A, for your children, and B, for the rest of the planet. And you know that you will have made a difference. Do what you love, and you can follow your passion. If anyone's out there that wants to be a speaker or a trainer, then obviously you can follow that passion through this company. If you want to care for the environment, you can do that through this company. If you want to provide an education for people, you can do that through this company. If you want to give the gift of passive income to some people, then you can do that through this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of the formal presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. If you do have any questions, right now would be the time to come up with that.
Awesome job, Andrew. Rock the house again. Now, as usual, we had quite a few late starters come in. Looks like, is it Rangini? He's having a nap there, is he?
Ranganui? Hey, he's listening.
Oh, no, he's awake. I thought he was having a nap. There's some people on phones. So if there's any questions, obviously jump out now before we wind up. But great information. You fired me up again today. So you always pick up something new from what you say. But absolutely rock the house. So I hope that we can line you up again for our American team again soon. So hopefully not when there's the Tony Robbins event on. Because